Hey everybody, welcome back. Welcome back to Generation X Nation. As always, thank you to all my new subscribers, to everybody left a comment. You guys know I do reply back. Now we're gonna be going over the housewives real quick in Hard and Hustle Houston. But before we get started, you know I gotta do my disclaimer. Everything on my channel is alleged, in my opinion, and for entertainment purposes only. Alleged, in my opinion, and for entertainment purposes only. All commentary on my channel is done week to week based on the episodes that air, with the understanding that some scenes are edited so we do not get the full context of the scene. So I do my commentary based on what I see on the TV screen. That's it. That's all. Now, The Housewives this week was really good. A lot of people been talking about it. I haven't really watched any videos. I usually watch them after I upload my videos. However, K Michelle, I will say this. Kudos to you. You did an excellent job. I did see some stuff going back on Twitter. I do go up and down the Twitter feeds and Facebooks and all that. And I did see some people going back and forth. I'm trying to figure out what happened at this reunion that caused K Michelle and Shamia's demise in the friendship. Because this episode here, and even last episode, I'm seeing K Michelle trying to be a decent friend to Shamia. That's what I saw. I see K Michelle checked in. She joined the group chat and she is now activated on this show, even though it's the last couple of episodes. So hopefully she come back next season and we can see more of this side of Kate Michelle. But let's get started. They started with the plane leaving Scotland. The next thing we see is Shamia going to her business meeting with her financial advisor. Now, this is what I be saying about these cameras and these edited Shamias, these edits. Because you came in there, pulled that coat off, and sat down in that chair and started talking to the man. But the way they did that scene, it looked so sexualized to me. They had you pulling off the coat, showing a little bit of your booty, your bum bum, sitting down in a chair as though you were flirting with this man. That's what I'm saying. They're editing you to look that way. And I don't even think that's what was the case. However, most people don't wear bodysuits to business meetings, but I digress. So the man let you know that these people are not trying to do partnerships right now. They are trying to let you buy this stuff wholesale. Shamir was a little disappointed. She hopes it goes better. At this point, Gerald was right. But moving on, we'll see. They do eventually, I guess, resolve the issue. Now, we go to the yoga class, and you have Kay Michelle, Dr. Canston, Angela, and Charles. Now, I didn't know Kay Michelle and Angela had formed this friendship, but she said, hey, they've been talking every day, and they are now becoming very good friends. I thought the whole yoga scene was really nice. Charles, once again, dissing Angela, is always telling her to put them big size 12 feet on his thighs. Charles is Charles. I like Charles in the scene because he does joke a lot and he does have a sense of humor. But after the yoga, they sat down and started talking again. Once again, Shamia is the subject. She's the topic of the subject. She asked, has anybody spoken to Shamia? Angela said, look, Shamia ain't nothing but a professional victim. Angela just said, I'm just done with it. Kay Michelle is trying to say, hey, I just wanted to be fair. I wanted to be able to have, her say so and have her part. Again, she said, Shamia is the one out here hurting people's feelings. She said, Angela, like Shamia is just a victim in her own mind. And I understand where Angela's coming from. Shamia is out here doing the most and then becoming a victim afterwards. And I kind of get uh Shamia's point of view too, like nobody's listening to what I have to say. So there's frustrations on both ends. The next thing they're showing Portia and her beautiful daughter PJ doing photo shoots because she is now replacing all them photos of her and Simon with her and PJ. You go, Portia. Portia and PJ look good in that red, but PJ did tell her, told her mama to hold her belly in. I said, good Lord, y'all teaching them young, ain't y'all down there? She know mama got a fat belly like that. It didn't look that bad to me, but I get it, PJ. Do what you got to do to make sure your photo shoot go right. All right. After that, Portia sits down with Lauren. Of course, they talking about the Shamia thing again. Once again, she is the topic of discussion. She asks her, has she talked to Shamia? Portia says Shamia texted her about going to a Halloween party and sent her a thing to do a butt mold. I'm like, Shamia, no, you didn't. But I understand. But think about this, and just again, just my observation. Portia invited you to the couples night that she had at her house. You had a party for Gerald and didn't invite her. When everybody questioned you, you had an excuse. Then you tell her you can't come to my husband's party, but your child can come over there with your baby daddy and play with my kids, basically. And now you're going to invite Portia to the Halloween party. Now, after you didn't invite her to Gerald's party, after she invited you to her party, and you didn't invite her to Gerald's party. So now you feel this type of way. Now you want to invite her to the Halloween party. That's all that is, because you knew it was a mistake and you knew the girls would have said something had you not invited her. But also at this point, the girls well understood why you didn't invite her. It's a little late to try to rectify that problem now, but I'm moving on. K. Michelle and oh, I'm sorry. At that point, Portia said, "You know I ain't going," and we know what the response was. We'll talk about it in a minute. K. Michelle and Shamia meets up because K. Michelle is like, "I need to figure out what is going on with Shamia, why she has changed." Shamia again goes into victim mode. I feel like I was fighting for my life and nobody was there to help me. K. Michelle asked her about well, why did you say that? What made you say that? About the moms and stuff. And then she said, Portia started it last year. And then I'm like, okay, but then they show the film of you introduced it because you were sitting there in an interview telling somebody that your mothers haven't gotten along in a while. But you and Portia have vowed to stay friends despite the fact that your mothers don't get along. So Portia didn't really introduce it. You did. And then when the interviewer said, what happened? You said, I'm not going to talk about it. So you started the mom train, Shamia. Take hold of that, okay? Shamia goes on to tell K. Michelle it feels like a divorce. She's all emotional and upset. And K. Michelle say, look, you can't meet wrong with wrong. She's telling you if you felt Portia started it and then you go back and meet wrong too, how is this ever going to be resolved? So you can't meet wrong with wrong. That she is right. And she said, did you send her an invite to the party? Once again, Shamia got to tell her, yeah, I sent her an invite. And this what she told me. Girl, I'm not coming to your effing party. You know what I'm saying? You sick as hell. Enjoy yourself. Why did you do that, Shamir? You should have said, I sent her an invite and I think she's not going to be there. Left it at that. But K. Michelle let you know I don't celebrate Halloween. I celebrate Hallelujah Day. So she said, based on her religion, she don't celebrate Halloween. We get all that. Then they show Portia buying Mama Diana a house. I'm like, oh, that is so nice. And I love the way Portia sat in the confessionals and told her how she was able to flip that into equity into the house and buying this house cash. And her mama got the house cash. That was great, Portia. This is the come up. Kelly, take notes. Portia was in the same position you in. That man threw her out in a U-Haul truck for nothing. And look at her now. Take notes, Kelly. That's all I'm saying. Now, at the end of the day, Dennis was there at the party. I meant to mention that because I like the way Portia always includes Dennis in everything. I love that. So now we gonna move over to the party, the bum bum Halloween party. Cynthia coming here as a glue. She said, "I'm the glue to keep everybody together." Well, Cynthia, your glue ain't been sticking that well when it came to the Portia and the Shamia thing. That glue has melted because they are not feeling each other at this moment. Okay. K. Michelle, Dr. Canston, and Portia and Mike are on a bowling outing together, double dating. They're sitting there having a great time at their Hallelujah party. Portia did say, "I'm going to take PJ out later on to, trick or treat." Now they're sitting down having a conversation. Shamia comes up again, and K. Michelle lets Portia know that Shamia showed her the text that she sent Portia. That Portia sent her about the party. And Portia said, there she goes, sending texts again. Shamia, he set yourself up for that. Meanwhile, Portia and Mike, are sitting there talking with K. Michelle and Dr. Canson. They're just watching to see if her and Mike got some chemistry. Mike said he's in love with Portia. Portia is acting like she's be with about it. I didn't know him to say that in front of me. I like him, but I'm not in love with him. Portia, you don't have no chemistry with Mike. You and Mike are just not a fit. Y'all don't have no chemistry. Maybe he just there to film with you. We cool with that. Just play along. But we all know you don't feel Mike. I don't know what it is. If Mike just playing the role, but he's a terrible actor. Neither one of y'all look like y'all got any sparks. So back to the party. They get to the party. Phaedra shows up. Kelly shows up with Jarvis and a motorcycle helmet covering up all his face and them poo shiesty masks, whatever. She don't want nobody to see Jarvis. And somebody mentioned, what, do he have creditors? Is he married? You don't want your ex-husband to see him? What is going on? That man has spent $70,000 on your teeth and he don't want to show his face on the screen. And I don't know if she's trying to protect him. Protect him from what? Protect people from not knowing who he is because maybe he has some kind of history down there that you don't want to get out. Something's odd, because if he's a legitimate person, a lawyer, a doctor, whatever, why you need to not show his face? You don't want the social media can't destroy your relationship unless there's something that you don't want social media to let us know about. That's all I'm saying. Now, Shamia brings Ashley to the party. Now, remember, Ashley is Angela's next door neighbor. So why is she coming to the party with Shamia? Supposedly they're friends. I guess this is going to resolve the whole George issue. Okay. So K Michelle finally shows up with Dr. Canstan and everybody is just happy about it. And K Michelle said, I don't know why this rich person having this devil's night to make profit off some rum when she like she's a breadwinner of a house that's already paid for. K Michelle got some one-liners. And this is what I'm saying, K Michelle, this is what we like about you. I like when you said that. I was like, K Michelle said some stuff, but it actually made sense. So they're sitting down there, and all the ladies start gathering around. And then once again, Shamia trying to vindicate herself. Angela's pulling up out there in the car with Charles. Charles ain't coming in, but I guess he gonna wait on Angela. So as they're in the middle of Ashley telling her, yeah, Angela called me up to get the tea. Angela walks up. What y'all talking about? We talking about you. And then Angela had to let Ashley know, I didn't call you up for no tea. I asked you, did you know Shamia? Now, who hasn't done that? Who hasn't met a person that may know a person that they know and say, hey, do you know Dr. Smith? Yeah, I know him. He a good guy, whatever. She didn't actually specifically give me the tea on Shamia. At least that's what she said. Now, later on, George shows up. And as George is sitting there talking to the ladies, and Angela, I don't know if it was Drew. Drew said Angela was vindicated or something, but somebody asked George, how did this conversation go? And he did say that, Shamia looks good and I have to pay for it, I guess at an event. And then somebody said that, then he said, Shamia is about the money. I have to pay her. Angela said, George said, Shamia looks good. That's why I have to pay for it. George said, no, I said Shamia is about the money and I have to pay for it. So we have to, unless we got receipts, we need to know exactly in what context did George say it. Did he say it smiling, being smirky, or did he say it in a context that sound more sexual? What was it to make Angela believe that y'all had something going on or y'all was at least flirting? So Miss Ashley, George's wife, she's getting upset going back and forth with Angela. Angela had to put her in check. Like, look at here. This conversations and the things I know about your husband precedes you. Basically telling her these things happened before you married him. So George was out there in them streets. Now remember back a couple episodes ago, Phaedra said everybody know George. So that could be true. All right. And then after that, they kind of calmed it down. And somebody mentioned something about Angela's kitty heels. And then they got to talking to Shamia. Now, Shamia, no, let me back up. Before they got to talking to Shamia, Pinky and K. Michelle alluded to George not being a very attractive man, and Ashley must have married him for the money. That's what they alluded to in their confessionals, even though they said it in a different way. That's really what they were saying. Shamia decides to apologize to the group again. And I'm like, Shamia, stop apologizing to the group and maybe apologize to Portia at this point. I don't know if she accept your apologies, but you're apologizing to the group, but you're sending Portia invites to your party to make it look like she don't want to come or don't want to be there, to make it look like she's the problem. You know she's not coming. Cynthia said, Shamia, you have to understand her response to you was warranted. You know what I'm saying? Basically, she's letting you know this is a whole new low, even for housewives. We don't really get that low. Kelly said, "Well, what makes it different? What makes it so different about what Angela said about George's wife, and what Shamia said about Portia's mom?" Kelly, what makes it different is because and Portia was talking about Shamia was talking about Portia's mother's sex life. That has nothing to do with the show. Angela was talking about George and Ashley, who are her neighbors, sleeping with Shamia, who's actually a cast member on the show. So talking about somebody cheating on their husband is a little different than telling you somebody mama sleeping with your daddy. Miss Diane is not part, even though she's a friend of the show, she's not in the loop with the housewives per se. So that's where I seen the difference is. Okay. So you housewives have always accused people of sleeping with other people. That's nothing new, but we never brung the moms in. So that's basically what they were trying to say. Even though Ashley was saying she asked for the tea for Shamia, Angela said, I didn't ask for no tea. I actually did you know Shamia? We get all that. But there is a difference. Okay. Then after that, they had this little contest of who bum is this. So who bum is this? And they showed the mold of the ladies' booties because Shamia had sent out a text message to everybody asking them to make a mold of their butt for her rum opening Halloween party thing, whatever. So the audience are trying to guess whose butt is what. And then all of a sudden, Gerald stops the contest and says, come outside. And then Kelly's in the back. Did he buy you a new car? Kelly, shut up. You so thirsty. I like Kelly, but sometimes Kelly just don't know when to keep her mouth up. She speaks at the wrong time. I'll leave it at that. So as they go outside, this guy named Terry that apparently is stalking or following Drew or stood Drew up for a date or she met through some other people has a horse in front of Shamia's house. Because she calls herself Beyonce. That's who she's dressed as. And Beyonce had the white horse she galloped on Cowboy Carter thing. He got her a horse out in front of somebody's house. And Shamia, like, I know I got an HOH. Is this zone for this? You don't show up to nobody house with a horse. Who told you that? Like, are you freaking serious? Who is this dude, Drew? And why is he standing in front of Shamia's house with a horse? Just my opinion. But with that being said, I think Shamia, and we all know Shamia and Portia's relationship is done. I am happy that K. Michelle did step up on several scenes and tried to resolve the issue. But one thing K. Michelle said when she was sitting there with Portia is don't be the crash out girl. We're not being the crash out girls anymore. And Portia's letting her know, hey, I'm good. I'm cool. I ain't doing all that. I got a child. I got, a business. I'm 40 something years old. She let him know I done grown out of that. You ain't pushing that out of me. And I don't know if Shamia hasn't figured it out yet, but I've been saying that for the longest. P. Willie is gone. Y'all don't want to bring P. Willie out. Leave P. Willie alone and let's just keep dealing with Portia. And I know a lot of people don't like Portia. I can care one way or another, but in this particular episode, Portia did show some restraint and maturity and showed it K. Michelle. I love what K. Michelle brought to the episode. She needs to do more of that. And that's what we like to see, K. Michelle. We know you're not crashing out anymore. We looking at you and Portia having grown woman conversations. Chef's kiss. I love it. So with that being said, that's really my wrap up of Housewives. I don't know what happened at that reunion to make Shamia and K. Michelle no longer friends after watching these episodes where K. Michelle is trying to have her back and helping her out. And she keeps saying nobody's supporting me in rooms I'm not in. And they actually are doing that. And I hope you've seen that, Shamia, because you kind of brought a lot of this on yourself, a lot of it. And I'm not saying Portia is not at fault for certain things, but Portia is playing you once again. Like I say, you playing checkers, she playing chess. Portia know how to dial it back and make you look like the victim. And you don't know how to not make yourself look like a victim. So you're falling right into her plan. And it has worked. Portia is a scheme that Todd set up to come to us with the bullshit about Shamia, and you fell for it. Just my opinion. Let's move on to Heart and Hustle Houston real quick. I didn't watch I watched two episodes, so I'm kind of mashing them into one. The first episode I watched, what I got out of that is RHOA still has a crush on her baby daddy. I'm a little confused why she said she wanted to have a baby by him and he already had 4 kids. It also seems like the baby daddy, wherever he lives at, those kids are near him, and the one that she has with him gets to see him, I guess, during off the school year, whatever the parenting time is and the visitation time. So that may be why their relationship has not gotten a good bond. And then of course, Ro has admitted she has blocked him and stuff like that. Ro, you can't keep doing that. That's all I'm saying. Chloe has been determined to be the bone collector of the group. Labrina, Marina, Ash, and everybody else has been getting into Chloe's behind because she keeps going back and repeating stuff amongst the group. Everybody showed up for the Galentine event that Chloe had, which was a spectacular event. It was beautiful. And then Elena shows up for the first time, or maybe the second, third time since this season started, because she's been, missing in action. And they sitting down with her and they asking her, if we know something about you, do you want to know? Elena says yes. And now the new season the new episode starts. They tell Elena that her husband is over there at Will's house, and I believe his name is Josh. Is over there at Will's house telling all her business, letting the world know she cheating on him, and he built that little makeup empire she has. Elena is really pissed, and she's like, and they're like, well, is this true? Was you cheating? And Elena said, I can't say I can't talk about it. I can't. And they said, well, Will said it. And she said, was it on camera? They said, yeah, he said it on camera. And Elena is pissed. She said, he did all this on camera? Absolutely, Elena. So whatever you got on him, you better start saying it on camera, or he gonna paint you the bad guy. That's all I'm saying. Now, Chloe and Jordan are at his apartment. Chloe is complaining to Jordan about the ladies attacking her and not understanding her, calling her the bone carrier. And even Jordan tells Chloe, maybe you need to own up to your part in some of this. Basically he's saying they all can't be wrong. Chloe don't like that. He said maybe you're brushing off their feelings or something. Chloe doesn't like that Jordan is saying that. Why is everybody always about me? This is crazy. I personally think Labrina is somewhat of the issue, but just my opinion. I'll talk about that later. She said apologies are I guess she keeps apologizing to me. I feel like the apologies are getting old. And then after that, she don't care. All I think Chloe cares about is Jordan and putting the baby in this man. But she did, putting getting a baby put in her by Jordan, and she's 40 some years old. So that's going to be it's going to be challenging. I hope it happens if that's what they really want. Now, she also added that she's not taking her ADD medicine, her Adderall, and that's causing her moods to be off. Well, if you know that you are not taking your medicine and there's some issues with your girlfriends, with your mouth and talking slick to them, and you know your mood swings are off because of the medicine, don't you need to take a little ownership of that? She said, well, maybe I need to let them know. Yeah, you probably should. And with that being said, they decided to become content creators, which is great. And they are got a show called 17 in between or something. I think 17 is significant that there is a 17-year age difference, and they want to chronicle their relationship and how it's working, and how they're navigating the age difference and all of that. Kudos to them. So after that, you see a scene with Marina and her husband, beautiful couple. They're just talking about they're not spending enough time with each other. They want to make time with each other. They end up going to like an Airbnb. It was actually gorgeous, and they were able to do that. And hopefully in the future, they will become the happy-go-lucky couple they used to be, according to her. I appreciate that. Now we got Latoria and Jordan out buying a ring for raggedy ass Chloe. Now Chloe all mad at Latoya, ain't talking to Latoya, but still behind her back, Latoya's being a good friend and ring shopping with her boo Josh. Josh is a little nervous about the engagement because we all know that he's only 4 years older than Nico, who's Chloe's son, and the little girls ain't happy about it. They ain't even happy about this whole marriage thing. So we're gonna see how that works out. Labrina and Elena sits down and have a conversation. Labrina is a mess. Labrina but sitting down with Elena, having a conversation about some dirt she told to the girls about Elena. But this is the same Labrina who was pissed off about somebody mentioning the whole precious comment that she said he said back to Latoria, and she don't appreciate people saying and repeating stuff, but you doing the same thing to Elena. That's all I'm saying, Labrina. You did the same thing that you were mad about the other girls did allegedly to you. But let's keep going. Labrina feels like she's asking uh Elena, like, Labrina, how did all this happen? Elena saying, Labrina, how did all this happen? And she said, why are you telling my business? Well, it didn't happen like that. We was all together. It did happen. You told her business. Y'all were all together, and then somebody mentioned, have you heard from Elena? And then you decided to tell everybody what her ex-husband, soon to be ex-husband, told your husband, Will. That's what you did, Labrina. Cut and dry. Stop trying to sugarcoat it. And she said, well, why not hear Josh's side, which is completely okay. I'm glad Josh has somebody to vent to. But like she said, you didn't have to go tell them, come to her. And she telling you, why didn't you reach out to me? And Labrina she getting pissed off at Elena for a moment, like, oh well, I mean, Labrina, remember you just had this conversation with the girls about Ashley. Let's not go there. Well, she said, Labrina basically said, I mean, I didn't create this situation. You and Josh create this situation. You right. And that right there says it all. That is her situation and Josh's situation. So who gave you the right to go repeat it when Josh came to y'all in confidence to get some stuff off his chest? So yes, you didn't create their divorce, but you definitely created the rumor control mill that's about to start. That's all we saying. And Labrina just Elena just let her know, like, look, I'm just trying to provide a safe space for myself. Um, she said, she don't know how to date. She wasn't able to look at men. She said, she's just trying to find brighter days. Labrina did apologize, but I don't take Labrina apologies are kind of like Chloe apologies to me. They don't hold weight. What she is trying to tell you is, I've been with this guy since I was in high school, and I have followed his lead the whole time. He's telling y'all that I'm just the face of the business and he created it. That's a lie. This is business I put my blood, sweat, and tears into, and I've done everything he asked me to do. Now I want to be me. Now I want to go out and learn how to date. Now I want to experience levels of love that I never experienced before. This guy been cheating on me, this, that, and the third. That's all she's saying, Labrina. Let her have her moment. If y'all want to believe everything Josh says, and we're not saying Josh ain't lying because we know it's his side, her side, and the truth somewhere in the middle. But at this point, it don't even matter. She's not going back to Josh. And why they break up or never go back to each other, get divorced, that's between them two. You should have never repeated it. Now, Labrina goes back to her husband. She lets him know about the conversation. And she said, hey, yeah, me and Will said, well, me and Josh wasn't that close, but we are developing a friendship. Um, she's expecting loyalty, but she doesn't get the loyalty back in return. That's what kind of Labrina is saying. And he was like, "What? All this he said, she said stuff. Just keep the people out of the." Josh is telling me she's just the face of the business, and he did all the legwork. I don't believe none of that. I believe Josh may have put money up front because they were married and that's her husband. But what does Josh really know about makeup? I'm sure Elena had to go out and advertise and do faces and take pictures and show up at photo shoots and events and fly. I'm sure Elena was doing all that. Now he might have put money behind it, but who was she doing the marketing? Maybe he did some marketing, but I'm sure that man was not the person who completely made that business successful. Maybe both of y'all did it, but Josh, stop trying to take credit for something that industry that you probably do not know one way or another how it really works. Allegedly, in my opinion. Now, she said, Will told Labrina, I don't care basically what Elena said. Justin showed me receipts of her cheating, even when they was married. Now, Labrina's sitting there looking dumbfounded and questioning, like, you should have never said that. Just my opinion. Should have never said that. I don't think Labrina was cheating. I think Josh got caught cheating over the years. And you know how some people, you get caught cheating and they try to deflect it and throw it back on you. I think that's what Josh was doing, trying to make it look like she was the cheater. Because maybe she had a flirt or two messages with somebody. Maybe at the time she got you cheating, she was mad and she went out and smiled at another man. But being a habitual cheater, you ain't selling that to me, Josh. I am not buying what you picking up. No, I just refuse to believe it. Now, last but not least, they go to this therapy session. I'm going to sum this up as quick as I can. It's Latoya, it's RHOA, and Chloe. I'm guessing they're the glue that holds this group together. They want to know why they're here. Everybody is saying Chloe is abusive, and Chloe even said she's abusive at the time of her communication. Chloe doesn't know how to talk to people. Now, while they're in there trying to get their parts out, Chloe continues to interrupt. Chloe continued to make it about her. Chloe will apologize and then turn around and say, well, what you want me to do? I apologize. You want me to sing some flowers now? Chloe, apologize and stop. There's no reason to add anything at the end of the apology, or that basically just devalues the apology. and it doesn't mean anything. So don't do that. Just apologize. You know what I'm saying? She's talking about Chloe is saying, I am not taking my ADD medicine, which makes sense because they said Chloe don't know how to stop. She let people get in her head and she'll text and just keep texting and texting and texting and texting. That is part of the ADD. You got to how to know how to just send a text message, call it a deuce, and move on. Okay? Your apologies, once again, are not saying genuine. Ro just keeps saying this is just an excuse. You're a grown ass woman. You know better. Ro went in that back room and said, I'm a 40-year-old woman. She older than me. She know better. We shouldn't have to keep explaining that to her. Even the therapist is looking at Chloe like she crazy. Latoya has described to Chloe, when you told me to stop effing crying, I was thinking about my dad. It was his birthday or something like that. Or, and it just bothered me and I started crying. You didn't even show any compassion. And when she figured out what was going on, said, oh, I apologize for that. It's These are your friends. You have no compassion for them. Then she said an hour later, I had a seizure, almost fell backwards. And thank God, Roll and Brina and Ashley was there. Oh, y'all had an outing without me? Just dismissed the whole seizure. And she almost fell down the damn steps and broke something. Chloe, in my opinion, I'm not going to go too deep into everything that happened in the meeting because at some point, Ro got up and walked up out of there because I think Ro was ready to punch her in the freaking head. Just my opinion. But I will say this. Chloe is sitting in this meeting. She has taken herself off of her meds. She's trying to have a baby for Jordan, and she's 40 plus years old, dating a younger man. I don't even know if she needs another child, but I'm thinking she believes that's going to seal the deal and keep them together forever. Chloe is self-centered around this man for some reason. Her whole world revolves around him to the point that her children aren't happy about the marriage. Her son Nico is not happy about the marriage. He's not on board, but you're going to do it anyway before you get any of these issues resolved. You don't need to be engaged or considering having a baby or none of that until I hope Jordan put a baby in me tonight. Girl, get the issues resolved with your kids. Your kids have to be first, especially them two precious ones who lost their dad, allegedly, in my opinion. You so focused on Jordan. Are you scared he's going to leave you? Is there something odd about that? You know, she's telling the doctor she talks out of frustration. I'm not on my meds. I'm just so misunderstood. Um, I'm trying to be a true friend to everybody. And I'm just like, the doctor is even looking at her, girl, you need to go get counseling and get you some help. I don't think Chloe is, and then she's going back and forth with Miss Sylvia. I don't think Chloe is self aware of what she's doing. The doctor is, and even Latoya and Roe in the back room are both saying something is going on with you that you are not letting us know, and you're taking that pain out on somebody else. Both of these people have decided this is the issue. And Chloe is still sitting there so unaware, self aware that she's the problem. Chloe is a narcissist, and I don't like calling people narcissists. Chloe is all about me. I know you heard, but I got issues going on too. I know he did this, but you did this to me. That is Chloe. I see it all over her. Chloe, pull back. Let your friends be your friends. A bad combination. You drinking alcohol, weaning yourself off of medication that controls your mood. And we know alcohol can also alter your moods. Just my opinion. I'm not a doctor, allegedly. You might want to pull back from all of that, Chloe. You seriously. Chloe, we're not saying you the bone collector, but what I'm saying is put the we're not saying you're the bone collector, but put the wine down. Stop drinking. Just stop drinking. If you're going to wean yourself off the med to have a baby, stop drinking. Get your medicine lowered to a lower dosage and then slowly wean your way off. But even the counselor, the lady you're talking to, the life coach, whoever she is, told you to go get counseling. She told you to go get counseling and get your meds straight. I don't know why you don't see that. But again, you're so self-centered and narcissistic that you don't even understand what you're doing to people and how it's coming off. And I hope after you watch yourself in these episodes, you have found out what was going on. And we know these are filmed months ahead. We don't even know if you're still with Jordan or not, but I hope you've seen the errors of your ways in these episodes. That's all I'm saying. Now, next week we see Chloe gets into it with Manir, where Manir goes off. We don't even see Manir get. I ain't never seen Manir get mad on episode. I seen her get frustrated, but she about to go off on Chloe. Chloe, you are the problem. You are the problem. Okay. And let me just say this: the guy who made this show, I, I, I can't remember his name, the executive producer. This show reminds me so much of Bell Collective. And I'm not saying you copied it. Shout out to Carlos King, but it just reminds me of Bell Collective because I see Latoria as Leticia, like she's trying to keep the bells together. I see Ro as Marie. Marie gonna pop off over Leticia. Marie gonna pop off over Leticia, and Ro gonna pop off over Latoria because they just that close. I see Chloe as Carrie. Carrie on that show is very self-centered. Every time Carrie said I'd have a conversation with anybody in any group setting, somehow she made it about her. Even at Selena's wedding, when it was raining, you know what they say about rain on the wedding day? Why'd you have to do that? You had to bring it up. But that's who Carrie is. And that's how Chloe is acting. She has that personality where it's deflect. It's all about me, but I'm the one hurting. Y'all don't understand, but yet you throw that pain off on everybody else. Because that's what Carrie does to the group. She's mad about her business, all that stuff. So they end up feeling the wrath of that. I'm just saying. It's similar to Bell Collective to me. And maybe I'm missing the mark. Okay. And with that being said, that is my quick wrap up of Real Housewives of Atlanta and Hard and Hustle Houston. K. Michelle did an excellent job. She owned this particular episode. Kudos to her. And Hard and Hustle Houston, Chloe, get it together. Labrina, just be a little more aware of how you talk to people and move around a group and stop blaming other people when some of the stuff you are creating yourself too. All right. And, Ro, I love the way you hold Latoria down, but I also need you to have the same energy for the father of your child. That's all I'm saying. And with that being said, this is Gen X Nation. As always, peace and have a great rest of your day.